Jeff Deagle is a lawyer in Regina. Jeff, when you watch that video, what do you make of it? Obviously it's confrontational, but what goes wrong?
Well, I think what goes wrong is emotions got in the way, and once it turned physical, and even just a little bit of way, I think reason flew out the window. I think the confrontation at the very beginning, and backing up, the way it was handled at the very beginning was probably a little more aggressive than it needed to be. And I mean, really what should have happened is as soon as he said he wasn't leaving, the police should have been called, and it should have been handled that way.
What kind of a right does a store have to ask someone to leave?
Store can ask anybody to leave at any time, really. The only issue becomes is if they do it for reasons that are contrary to the law or human rights, then there's repercussions that can come after that.
Did you see a violation of human rights here?
It's hard to say at this stage. I mean, if it's accurate that he was being targeted because of his race, that's a potential issue. I couldn't tell that directly from the video. But on the other flip side, where it ends up with the physical altercation, that could be criminal in nature.
This was all recorded on video for us all to have a look and analyze. And the fact is we all carry our phones around, and it's easy to take these pictures and videos, and I think feel a sense that we could do that because we own the phone. But where do our rights end when it comes to being able to film inside of a store or take a photo?
Well, if the store prohibits filming inside the store, that's a reason they can ask you to leave, for example. But it's a public space, and as long as you're recording something you're part of, there's no real problem with that. It becomes an issue if you're recording other people that you're not part of. And then if you look to the Privacy Act, that can be permissible if it's being done in aid of defense of property, somebody's property or person.
We often hear people speak about being followed in stores, or they have a sense that there is discrimination happening. Oftentimes, in our province in particular, Indigenous people speak about this experience. Is there anything anyone can do when they're in a store and they feel this way?
Being followed? They can, what the steps they really need to do is probably talk to the management and address it that way. Because there could be an innocent explanation for it. It's hard to say. But you don't want to get in the position where you cause a confrontation and you're the initiator of that confrontation. I mean, if you're doing nothing wrong, I mean, just go about your business. But if you feel like it's a continuing thing, you should go to at least the management to start and make a complaint that process.
What should you do if you're asked to leave and you feel wrongly so? What's the best course of action to avoid it escalating into a physical altercation?
I think the first thing you do is ask why you're being asked to leave. I think you have a right to ask that question and have an understanding as to why you're being asked to leave, and then leave. Because worst case scenario, the police are going to be called and they're going to make you leave anyways. So if you can get an answer as to why you're being asked to leave and you leave voluntarily, you're going to avoid the emotional upheaval that could result when it escalates into something more physical.
Thanks for your time today, Jeff.
You're welcome.